So all these services, actually the fact is that the Ahmadiyya community is not a very big community. It's not a very wealthy community. By the grace of Allah, situation is much, much better than it used to be before. But with its limited resources, Jamaat is committed to the service of mankind because we take it as a very sacred duty and a very important fundamental duty of a true believer.
These projects are so vast and so global. People sometimes question as to where does the Jamaat get its funding from? Are we sponsored by a state or are we sponsored by some organizations? And that is a question that arises in the mind of many of our viewers. Sir, if you could perhaps throw some light on what how does that
in fact, whenever you talk about these services, at one side you say you're a small community, poor people, ordinary people. Then you see, and the work which you are talking about is so enormous, how you are able to do that. And in fact, this is really, it's a miracle. You know, some people ask, what is a miracle? Or what are the miracles performed by the promised Messiah? I would say this is one of the miracles that you won't find any example such as this Ahmadiyya Jamaat, that being a small community, being a community of the people who are so poor and so, you know, ordinary people, still they are able to make such sacrifices for which there is no other example in the world. As you know, that the moment a person becomes Ahmadi, his first promise with Allah is that he will pay at least 6.25% from his income. That is the first. Then you see he also pay 1% approximately for the annual convention. Then on top of that he will pay something for the mosques to be built in the various parts of the world. And you see, just see this mosque where we are sitting at the moment. This mosque is the largest mosque in the whole of Europe, and approximately 15 million pounds spent on this. And people again, you see, they wonder how is it possible. But I will say yes. Anybody can check the accounts. And in fact, today, there were some auditors from the government who came to check the accounts of the Jamaat. And every year they see that each and every penny which Ahmadiyya Jamaat spent on any project, that has been donated by some individual members. So all this money comes from the individuals, dedicated people who are doing these sacrifices for the sake of Allah, and because there is a promise of Allah that if you spend in the way of Allah, Allah will grant you more. And this is why all the time the donations are increasing and the blessings of Allah are also increasing on the Ahmadis. And this is how this work is being done.
I think one very important point to be added here is that, as Bajo Sahib has just mentioned, this is a unique feature of the Ahmadiyya community, that they go for such sacrifices which are continuous. Just to make a very big donation on the spur of the moment, when you are asked to make a donation, there is an earthquake or some problem there, maybe people can be offering thousands of pounds at that time. But that is just one-off. But the distinguishing feature of the standard of sacrifice in Ahmadiyya Jamaat is that it is a regular and continuous and voluntary. Everybody pays with his love and affection. Taking it as a religious obligation, he makes the donation regularly. Another point which is very important is that Ahmadiyya Jamaat, by the grace of Allah, does not wish to have nor to accept any subsidy or any help from any worldly government. This is on record. I remember that only a few months ago I was addressing a meeting in Southall. The local member of the parliament, he came to the stage, he mentioned it openly, that Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamaat is the only one which does not get any help or financial assistance from the state. So he made this claim very openly, right in front of the people, and that was published in the press. Similarly, I know that recently the Jamaat Ahmadiyya Mauritius, they held a very special banquet in connection with the centenary celebration, where the Prime Minister of the country, he came and he addressed and made a very rich tribute to the services of the Ahmadiyya community. And one point which he mentioned was something at which all the people were really surprised. He said that the Mauritian government has offered help to various religious organizations in the country. All of them they have accepted, except one, and that is the Ahmadiyya Muslim community. They have thanked them, that thank you very much for this gesture, for this offer, but we as a Muslim community, Ahmadiyya Muslim community, we are not going to accept it. because by the grace of Allah, we depend on the blessing of Allah Almighty, which comes through the voluntary sacrifices of the member of the community. So thank you very much for the offer, but we are not. So this statement of the Prime Minister of Mauritius was then carried out on television, on the radio, in the press repeatedly. And all over the country, this was something to be talked around, that this is the community which is standing on its own feet and does not have.
One more beautiful example I remember when some time back during the time of Hazrat Khalifatul Masih Salis, third Khalifa, Rahimahullah Ta'ala, a state in Nigeria, they took over all the schools which were established by various missions. And they included, Christian missions as well as the Ahmadiyya mission. But the government of that state, they declared that any money which you have spent so far on your establishment, you can claim it back, so we will pay you back. And the Christian organizations, they prepared very exaggerated claims and they submitted to the government. But when it came to the point of asking from the Ahmadis, the Ahmadiyya Jamaat, they sought guidance from Hazrat Khalifatul Masih Salis Rahimahullah Ta'ala, that what shall we tell them? Hazur said, tell them that we are here to give you, not to take anything from you. So tell them that we are not going to accept a single penny from you. So when this announcement was made on the radio, the Christian organizations, they were too much, let us say, they were embarrassed. So they came and contacted our missionary in charge that you have ruined us all, because we have prepared the claims and you have declared that you are not going to accept any money from the government. So what shall we do now? They said, well, this is the instruction which we have received from the headquarters. So we are not going to receive any penny from the government. So they submitted all what they possessed, what they all had in their possession. They gave it to the government straight away, and it has a very great impact on the whole nation, that these people are here to give us.
All our projects are for
That's
the
right.
service of mankind, and we are not there to
not to take anything
any
from
benefit
No.
from them, or to have any ulterior motive behind our designs. So that clearly establishes the fact of our humanitarian exercise.
In Gambia also, a superpower of the world, they offered a very great, huge amount to the Ahmadiyya mission, that because you are doing a charitable work, so we also want to contribute and we want to offer you this much amount. And the Khalifatul Masih Salis, he said, no, we shall not take anything from them. Whatever we depend upon is what all we get from the contribution of the members.
Can I just, sorry, breaking away from that, remind our viewers that this is an interactive program. And if you have any questions that you come to your mind about today's discussions, or any other questions that you wish to ask about the Ahmadiyya movement in Islam, its claims, about its leader, about its founder, then you can email us on faithmatters@mta.tv, or you can also fax us on +44 208 687 8037. We are perhaps coming towards the end of our program. We may not have an awful lot of time. There are some questions which we can perhaps cover. And if I could ask the first question on this is, what do you, from Safiya in Mordom, she says, what do you say about the general belief in Muslims that the Ahmadiyya community translate the Holy Quran in a way to better serve their own agenda? So this was a question which is a very specific question about the Holy Quran, and which obviously Muhammad Lakeet Sahab also has a question which is very similar to that. Perhaps both can be covered by the same answer. Why do people claim that the Quran published by the Ahmadiyya Muslim community is not correct?
Yes, if I may answer the question. Yes, this is a very important aspect of the activities of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community. This again, Ahmadiyya Jamaat is unique in this field. So far, by the grace of Allah, Ahmadiyya Jamaat is able to translate the Holy Quran into 69 languages. Every year, Hazrat Amirul Mu'mineen Ayyadullah Ta'ala bin Nasr Aziz give full report in the Jalsa Salana. And this year, Hazrat said, Alhamdulillah, this year another one language is added. Last year, up to last year it was 68, and this year one more, 69 languages. Now, this is the duty, in fact, of the Muslims, that if they believe that Holy Quran is the word of Allah, then, and it's out for the whole of mankind. All the people don't know Arabic language. So this is why it is essential for the Muslim to provide the translation of the Holy Quran for the benefit of all the people. So this is why this is the most important, you see, task which Ahmadiyya Jamaat has taken upon themselves. And this is being done, continuously. And a lot of sacrifices are made by the member of the community, because we know that generally people are non-Muslim and they will not buy these, Holy Quran. We have to provide them free, mostly.